In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Marianne's guests are leaders in their field, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in their own work. They teach others to develop, refocus, and grow. Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. And remember, make every moment count.
Welcome to Moments with Marianne. Today, my special guest is Amy B. Scher. So she is an author of a best-selling book, How to Heal Yourself When No One Else Can, that was just released by Llewellyn Worldwide. And she's been called by many as the expert in mind, body, spirit healing. And I love this one, the Muhammad Ali of energy work. So welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here tonight.
Oh, definitely. And your book is, man, what a journey that you've taken. And you're quite a prolific writer. I mean, you've got several other books that you've done that are just amazing. And I really like how you talk about your story and your journey here.
Thank you so much. It's nice after all the years of I call it an adventurous healing journey, but it makes it sound a little bit more fun than it was. But it's so nice after all those years to then be able to put it into a format to help other people and go, oh, that's why some of that happened,
Yeah, at the time when we're in pain, it doesn't seem, obviously, pain's no fun. But it really, it's hard to see the forest from the trees when we're going through stuff. It really is.
Oh, it's so true.
Well, for our listeners, why don't you tell them a little bit about your story?
Sure, I would love to. So my story started in my mid-20s, really, when I started having some severe physical problems. I was at the time a marketing director for Harley-Davidson, having, in the dream job for a 25-year-old, and started having physical symptoms like I was tripping from my office to the little kitchen that was, up just a very tiny ramp. And I started having tingling in my arms and legs, and it was over probably just a few weeks where they got so intense that I had to stop working. And that started sort of a medical journey of not knowing what was going on, but being on this huge mission to find out, to get a diagnosis. And I got many diagnoses, but the main one that I ended up getting was chronic Lyme disease. And probably many people, on the East Coast are familiar with it, but I was bitten by a tick, which I didn't know about, and it transmitted a bacteria to me that caused Lyme disease, which when it's left untreated can really infiltrate your whole system. So I had arthritis and brain lesions and nerve damage and autoimmune conditions because my immune system was was at a level of such dysfunction. And, this, I'm making a long story short, but the process went on for many years, and I tried so many medical treatments to help me, and nothing really cured me in the way that I was hoping so that I could go on with my life. I finally found a treatment in Delhi, India, at this little clinic that did experimental stem cell transplants, and took a huge leap of faith and flew to India with my parents' blessings and company and went through this 8 weeks of very intense treatment to sort of regenerate my body. And it worked really, really well. I arrived to India in a wheelchair, and I left walking or running. I almost missed my flight home. I was running through the airport. And it seemed, for all intents and purposes, like a miracle. I was better. I was off so much of my medication. I had been on heart medication and pain medication and just so much stuff. And it was about a year later when I thought I was in the clear and everything was fine and I would just go along merrily in my life that I had a recurrence of symptoms. They never got as bad as when I started because by that time I had regenerated my body so much, but I definitely started to see some tingling in my legs, and I had a few tests that showed my immune system was stressed again. And at that point, I decided to stop, take a deep breath, and really change my view or change my direction as to how I was treating this illness, these illnesses in my body that kept manifesting and remanifesting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I was sort of out of money and out of patience and out of energy, and I decided to try alternative treatment. And this alternative treatment is something I had tried before, but I was like, maybe I should go back to try to just do something different. And so I saw a Chinese medicine doctor who did acupuncture and gave me some herbal remedies, and I started to see a slight change, and that opened me up to the world of what's called energy medicine, where we use the energy system in our body to heal. And I know we all seem like physical beings, but we all have an energy system. And when we get blockages in that energy system, physical and emotional symptoms can arise. And what Chinese medicine does is it addresses the imbalance in the energy system that's then creating the imbalance, the physical or emotional imbalances. And so I started kind of going down this, even with my very science-minded brain, I kind of started going down this path where I was looking into things that I had never seen before. And when I really started to study the energy system and what impacts our bodies so much, the energy system, our immune system, our nervous system, I learned that so much of it is our emotional well-being. And learning that really, as much as I didn't want to admit I could be part of the problem, really helped open me up to a permanent solution for my health.
And that's sometimes what it takes is looking at things differently, being able to, use a different approach. It's not to say that modern medicine doesn't have its place. It most definitely does. But it's really interesting that this topic is coming up. For the last 2 weeks, last week I interviewed Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he was talking about, he was on the forefront of stem cell research back in the 60s. And then also Dr. Michael Fossil, who is looking, he's into stem cell research as well. He's looking to use that to cure, not treat, but to cure Alzheimer's. So there's a great benefit, with that type of research and with that type of treatment. So how amazing it was that you were able to go and have that treatment done. Did you feel that it made like that huge shift? That was like the turning point, even though there was that kind of relapse a little bit. Well, I wouldn't even call it relapse, but it's a reoccurrence later. Yeah,
I really feel like any treatment can be amazing, whether it's stem cells or something you can do here in the U.S. easily. Obviously I traveled a long way, and it wasn't FDA approved. It was risky, but at that point I had to do what I thought would be best to try. So I think that any treatment can be amazing, and the stem cells were amazing for me. But what I really learned was, unless you address the emotional and spiritual aspects of sort of the dis-ease or the imbalance in your body, then I don't believe that treatments are the cure-all. So I think it's important to turn inward for your healing in order to sort of meet your medicine halfway. And Bruce Lipton's work was one of the first works that I studied that really opened my eyes to, wait, I'm part of this. Like, it's not my fault, but I need to engage in the healing process much, much, much further than just finding the right treatment. And so I think that the stem cell treatment helped, but it definitely didn't cure me. I think I was on the road to getting back to where I started because I hadn't changed my life and my emotions and my patterns and beliefs enough to prevent myself from sort of unraveling all of that again, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. We can't ignore the spiritual aspect of it as well. And you're 100% right. It'd be like putting new paint on an old house without taking the time to really take care of the place.
Exactly. And people always ask me now, do you think you could have gotten well without the stem cells? And of course, I don't know, because at the time I certainly wasn't as open to the spiritual and emotional aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to a place where, you were just saying about how this is coming more to the forefront, I think that we as humans become more open when we become more desperate. And that's sometimes a good thing, because I had exhausted all possibilities after the stem cell treatment. I was sort of forced to just sit there and go, okay, what can I do? Like, how much power can I find within myself to move in a new direction? And I would have never done that to that extent before. So I leaned so much on medical treatments and doctors, and until all of that was gone and nothing in that realm was possible for me anymore, because I had tried it all, that was really when, I was at a loss in some ways because I didn't know what to do. But then I found my own path, and I've been well permanently and completely now for years. And so there was such a big blessing in not having that to lean on anymore.
Well, and so I know that's one of the things that you talk about that makes you different than other people who profess to do, and there's all different routes. And as they say, it's kind of, if there's many different directions that you can go, and they all, north, they all kind of lead north if you're headed that way. You can take many roads.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that makes you different than other practitioners, is having that medical experience with, we hate to call it woo-woo, it's the entire spiritual aspect as well. Is there another component to that I'm missing?
No, and I used to call it woo-woo too, and sometimes I still, with my clients in my private practice, say, okay, we're going to do this thing, and it might seem kind of woo-woo, but please just roll, go along with it, because at some point we try those things. And actually now, energy medicine and energy psychology has so much, there's so much scientific support for it now, but when I was first learning about it, it wasn't so, and I really liked the scientific aspect of medicine, so it was definitely turning in a different direction. But I think, for me, and when I work with clients now through my, I have an online course, and I also work with clients one-on-one, but I see a common denominator for everyone who's struggling with, whether it be anxiety or physical illness or grief that they can't let go of. There's an underlying energy of fear. We live with so much fear, and I'm not talking about fear as in, fear of heights and that kind of thing, although that exists, as well, but just fear of being who we really are, fear of being judged, fear of not being perfect, not being good enough. This fear dominates us in so many ways, and it was one of the big things that I had to address within myself in order to heal completely. And I think that's the spiritual and emotional aspect. It's who we are, what we believe about ourselves, our pattern, our emotional patterns. Do we express our emotions, or do we hold on to them? And that's what I see as sort of the crux of healing, and that's what we're talking about when we talk about emotional and spiritual healing, or that aspect of things.
So let's say someone comes to you and they've got, let's say like Lyme, like a chronic Lyme disease going on, or maybe it's fibromyalgia, or whatever the case may be. How would you approach that? I know you talked about the fear portion, but what would that approach look like?
Sure. So, the first thing is people usually come to me and say, I have so many problems. I have this autoimmune disease and this and that and this symptom. And I say, you only probably have a few problems, but they're all interrelated. Mm-hmm. So what I try to usually do is find out where the symptoms are showing up in the body. Symptoms are an amazing sort of they're amazing clues for what emotionally or spiritually we need to pay attention to. So, for instance, digestive issues are often related to being unable to sort of digest an experience in the past, or maybe feeling disgusted about something that happened that you can't get over, or something eating away at you, or feeling stuck and unable to let go. The stomach and the intestines have a very specific way that our emotional and spiritual issues show up, as do other parts of the body, you know, the throat and the thyroid. There's so many people with autoimmune thyroid disease, and that's all about not being able to express ourselves. And so what I usually do is look at, and there's a whole section in my book so that people can figure out for themselves, depending on where in the body this energy or this imbalance is showing up, what could your body be saying? And so I usually start a conversation with clients, and I have pretty sharp intuition, so I can often pick up on it and then ask them, you know, is there something like this going on in your life, or perhaps right before the symptoms showed up? And we start with how they may not be living in alignment with who they really are. What are they not speaking up about? What are they forcing themselves to do when they really don't feel good about that in their heart? What kind of relationships are they in where it's maybe reaffirming an old belief that they're not good enough? And so I kind of ignore the diagnosis because I don't treat any medical issues, but I use the part of the body that it's showing up in to show them that your body's not against you. It's trying to talk to you. And then from there, we can figure out what emotional events from the past maybe they haven't let go of, or what beliefs like I'm not good enough, you know, they have that are kind of affirming this energy in their bodies. And so we start a conversation and we use the different techniques to clear that out of the body so that it can come back into balance and instigate the body's self-healing mechanism, which we all have. Our bodies know how to heal. They just sometimes need a little bit of help along the way. Or a lot of help sometimes.
Yeah, I bet. So when you see clients and you're working with clients and they're going through this process, they get your book, they read about how, you know, like, where am I, and they get to understand, it's like, okay, well, maybe I have this thing going on with, I don't know, we'll just pick with how you're seeing adrenals. That's kind of a common thing. And they get to a certain point. Do you do energy work on them to kind of give them that push and help them forward? Or is that something that they continue to work through?
Yeah, so this is something that when I work with private clients on the phone, I do everything on the phone, first of all. So I don't do any energy work on them. I walk them through doing it on themselves. And I actually found that that's a very, very important and powerful part of healing. Self-healing is so, so important because a lot of what breaks down our immune system and what causes dis-ease in the body from a spiritual and emotional aspect is feeling powerless, feeling like we don't matter, feeling helpless. And when we apply self-healing techniques, that immediately counteracts so much of that pattern of just feeling helpless. And that in and of itself, self-healing, is very, very healing. And so I found it very important, even though it's great to get, you know, the support of maybe an acupuncturist or, you know, whatever kind of energy work, it's essential that we do our own work to heal to some extent, to send that message to the body that we're safe in our own hands. You know, so many people don't trust themselves, and then that causes that extra layer of fear. So if we can learn to help ourselves and trust ourselves, we send a message to every cell in our bodies that we're safe, that we're okay, that there's something we can do, that we are in a powerful place and have some, you know, power over our own lives and health. So I walk my clients through everything and really teach them the techniques to do it themselves.
That is empowering. And I have heard, you know, with different practitioners, when someone's working on you, you may see some benefit initially, and this isn't true for everybody, but you may see some benefit initially, but then it might go back to the old stuff because basically the person who's there for the energy healing, what have you, maybe they don't have as much invested in their own healing, you know, because they don't. It's like they have no skin in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. It's a very interesting perspective because I do find it so interesting. I do find definitely that the people that I've worked with over the years, the ones that are most invested in working on their own, and it doesn't have to be hours a day, but, 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, and being really conscious of their emotions, and all, if they take all that I teach them, I see those that really work on it consistently and, on a regular basis go so much further than the people who just show up for the workshop or show up for appointments and don't do anything or think about anything in between, because it takes that self-investment to really heal, to really change these old patterns.
No, definitely. And one of the things I saw in your book that I really liked and appreciate is that you have a thank you prayer for the body. Yes.
And I wrote that because I had such a hard time when I was sick for so many years. I just hated my body because I perceived that it was doing this to me, that it was this unruly body that, that was out to get me. And what I realized over time was, and talk about something that sounds woo-woo, was that self-love and really loving and accepting yourself as you are is so, so important to healing. And I was stuck on that because, one, it sounded so like airy-fairy to me. It's like, why do I have to love myself? I'll love myself when I feel better and when I can get back to work. Well, we're going to pause here for a quick break, and we're going to hear the rest of this when we come back from break, Amy, because I want to hear what you have to say on this. But we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been talking to Amy B. Scher, and we'll be right back momentarily.
In 2012, after returning home from Iraq and Afghanistan, Sean Gobin hiked over 2,000 miles of the Appalachian Trail. Recognizing the therapeutic effects of long-distance hiking, Sean founded Warrior Expeditions, a veteran nonprofit therapy program that supports veterans transitioning from their military service by hiking America's national scenic trails. Equipment and supplies are provided, as well as assistance with job placement. For more info or to help support these veterans, visit warriorexpeditions.org.
Are you ready for the quantum age?
Humanity's next step in evolution?
Dream Vision 7 Radio Network invites you to the extraordinary platform of evolutionary voices for the quantum age.
Let's explore. Learn more about this upcoming age where we bridge science with spirituality.
Where potentiality meets reality.
Where we take compassion into action.
Our trailblazers and visionaries will ask the whys, the what-ifs, while igniting continuous possibility.
Come along with us into an age beyond what we know today, where we can grow together in unity consciousness.
Experience evolutionary voices for the quantum age, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern on DreamVision7Radio.com.
Ben Wexler is a gifted leadership development and strategy consultant for professionals who want to transform their organizations and careers. Through a uniquely personalized set of processes, participants discover their unique knowledge, how to leverage that knowledge and experience, and then put it all together with a global strategy. You're more valuable, your organization is more valuable, and the change is viral. Contact Ben at 630-881-1074. 630-881-1074.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit JudyGoodman.com. That's JudyGoodman.com.
Join us on Creating a Spirited Life with Janet Kesenick the third Sunday of every month at 8 p.m. We'll explore the day-to-day moments that puzzle, enlighten, and bring us into deeper connection with our best selves. Find meaning, purpose, and humor while creating a spirited life. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Are you an author looking for publicity for your book? If you're self-published or have worked through a traditional publisher, Marianne Pestana can help you get the media attention you require. Contact Marianne Pestana, literary publicist and host of Moments with Marianne, to create a winning plan of action. Marianne has helped authors become bestsellers and has received highly acclaimed media attention for her clients. Some of her work has received attention from ABC, NBC, CNN, CBS, Fox, and PBS, in addition to print and radio. She's a specialist in utilizing social media and her list of exclusive contacts to further the reach of your work. Contact MariannePestana.com to discuss the future of your work today.
Life's winding path reveals many truths. Join us every fourth Sunday at 7 p.m. for Healing Journeys with Michael Kovarik, where we explore how in the midst of uncertainty, we can find inner peace and guidance, the healing energy we receive from those who cross our paths, the mystical realms of alternative therapies, and the power to heal that lies within each of us. Have you ever had the sense that your thoughts might actually be doing something? Ancient secrets of manifesting have been masterfully revealed in the award-winning book Manifesting 1-2-3 by Ken Elliott. For the first time, the author's experiences and stories in this book describe exactly how your thoughts can create anything. You've been doing this all your life, but it's never been fully explained for you until now. Visit manifesting123.com for more information today. Manifesting123.com.
Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here with Amy B. Scher, and we've been talking, about her amazing book, How to Heal Yourself When No One Else Can. So, Amy, I'm sorry to interrupt you last time. I know you had something from your book you wanted to read real quick.
Sure, yeah, this goes along with what we were just talking about when I was saying that the self-love piece was so important because I was so mad at my body, and I see this with clients. Everyone's so mad at their body for having symptoms, but really the best way to get your body to cooperate with you is to be nice to it. And for so many of us who have never been nice to ourselves, our internal talk is so just mean. When I talk to clients, I say, would you ever say that to someone else? Yet you talk to yourself like this all day long. You know, I can never do anything right. I suck. I shouldn't have done this. It's so wearing on the body. So I wanted to read just a quick paragraph on this. And I write, symptoms are your body's emotional guidance system, which is hard to ignore, resist, or dismiss. I used to become annoyed at my body for always being symptomatic. But in hindsight, I see it was the only completely honest source of information in my life. It called me out very often. As I became more apt and able to ignore it, it became stronger and louder. It never gave up, and it didn't cower at my rebellion. It just kept delivering the messages. And I think that paragraph says it all, because when we're mean to ourselves, when we ignore what our body's trying to tell us about our life and how we're not living in a way that is healthy for our mind, body, and spirit, our symptoms just get stronger because they're going to give us that message whether we like it or not. And so I think that's a really important thing to remember. And when I sort of had that that realization, I was able to be kinder to myself and try to figure out what my body was telling me instead of being mad that it was sort of unruly and doing this mean thing to me, if that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. Yeah. It's really listening for the message as opposed to being, and having that communication as opposed to getting into like a victim mode,
Exactly.
Is not very empowering, which I'm sure attributes to other things going on because the self-esteem part's built into that. So.
Exactly. And I'm not here to say, oh, symptoms are amazing. We should be, we should embrace them. Like I'm not saying it in that way. I'm saying I know symptoms can be annoying and they get in the way of our lives, but they're really just our inner beings trying to speak to us. So if we can soften up a little bit about it, we don't have to love, our current place that we're in, but if we can just kind of chill out, listen, try to figure out what it's telling us. And again, I have that whole section in my book which breaks down different parts of the body and the organs and all of that stuff to help everybody. But if we can just try to be like curious about it and figure out what our body is telling us, it puts us in so much more of a place of ease and healing than being mad and angry.
No, for sure. Most definitely. Now you also have this section in your book that talks about beliefs and how they can block us. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. So you mentioned Bruce Lipton earlier, and his work is much about, the book Biology of Belief, which talks about how our beliefs and perceptions actually can change our physiology, and how, this kind of goes along with the concept of the mind leads and the body follows. So we have to get our mind in order. We have to get our sort of mental perspective and our emotional selves in order if we want our bodies to follow. And beliefs are not fact. They're things that we learned usually in the first 7 years of our lives about ourselves or about the world that dictate our behavior, our thinking pattern, and our emotional patterns. And they're not always the best things to be believing. So, for instance, let's say when you were little, you were always in competition with, a sibling to be the best, to get mom and dad's attention. And perhaps you got the idea somehow that you weren't good enough because your brother or sister always got better grades and they always seemed happier with them. Whatever you perceived as a child, you tend to go on believing your whole life. So let's say there was an incident when you were, 6 years old where you perceived that your brother was getting all the attention because he did something great in school, and you decided that this experience in your past meant that you weren't good enough. And you go on in your life believing you're not good enough with everything you do because you didn't, as a child, process that experience as, oh, he did something good. They're rewarding him for that, and that's it, and you move on. The way we perceive things really dictates our behavior going forward. So if you go through your whole life believing you're not good enough because of a childhood incident or a few childhood incidents, that's really going to throw you off track because all of your mental chatter is going to go along with that, and telling your body and telling your spirit and everything else that you're not good enough a million times a day whenever something goes wrong is going to be really, really detrimental. So changing your beliefs are all about changing the stories that you tell yourself that might need some updating. And I always tell my clients, I have nieces and nephews, and they're 5 years old and 9 years old and little ones, and I surely would not let them run my life. And so when you think about it that way, you don't want your 5-year-old or 7-year-old or 9-year-old self dictating your adult life. It's very, very dangerous. We end up with so many beliefs about who we are and our place in this world, and those affect us to some extent. And then we have so many beliefs about healing. You know what I mean? If I heal, then I have nothing good to do with my life anyway. What's the point? Or if I heal, I'll lose my identity. Or if I heal, then I won't have anything to talk about with my best friend who's sick. And many of these types of beliefs, I want to point out, are subconscious. They're not things that we're aware of. They're not our fault. People always say to me, I would never think that I shouldn't heal because of X, Y, and Z. And I say, maybe consciously you wouldn't, but subconsciously crazy stuff gets stuck in our brains. And even though it's crazy, we wouldn't want it there. We just kind of have to own it. And there's many techniques now, and they're all outlined in my book, that we can use to clear those. But, I find some really, really common ones. A lot of us who maybe only got attention when we were young from a parent or a teacher when we didn't feel good, or only got out of things we were scared of, like maybe taking tests or going to school or going to another kid's birthday party when we were sick, can learn that that we're safer when we're sick. People protect us when we're sick. And, of course, this doesn't mean it's your fault if you're sick or that you want to be sick. But these silly things get stuck in our head, these ideas. And I'll tell you, we go on and on and on believing them until we get to a point where we're so riddled with anxiety or physical illness or whatever it may be that we go, wait a second, we have to reevaluate. And so that's what we're talking about when we talk about beliefs. It's just those silly things that get silly old stories that we're still telling ourselves 30, 40, 50, 60 years after we learned them.
Well, Dina, with, spring coming up here, maybe it's a good time to do a little spring cleaning of belief systems that don't work for us anymore,
Exactly. And these pertain, not only to health, but to money, to relationships. I see a lot of times with clients, I work with a lot of executives and, heads of big companies. And even these people who seem so successful on the outside can have these fears like, I'm not good enough, or there's not enough money to go around, or things that you look at these people and think, wow, they seem so like they're doing so well and they have so much confidence and so much belief in themselves, but still on the inside they're really struggling. So this can, these old beliefs about, that we have from our childhood, they can be about money or success, like I just talked about, relationships, maybe nobody will love me unless I'm perfect, or health, like we've been talking about. Maybe I'll lose my identity if I heal, or maybe I don't deserve to heal, or, one I hear a lot of times is I'm too damaged to heal. There's so many well-meaning doctors and practitioners out there who say to clients or patients, you're the worst case I've ever seen. People always ask, my clients always ask, am I the worst case that you've ever seen? And I always say no, but there's no way I would tell them even if they were, because that then becomes a belief, and then they get so stuck to that, they believe they can't heal.
Well, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about this. We've been talking with Amy B. Scher. You can reach her website at amybscher.com. She's the author of How to Heal Yourself When No One Else Can, and we'll be right back.
In a single moment, your life can change. Join Marianne Pastana, host of Moments with Marianne, for a transformative hour of leaders in their field, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Tune in to experience Moments with Marianne every second Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network. Don't miss this. And remember, make every moment count.
Join the Mind Health Coach with Leah Marie every fourth Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Come explore with us natural and healthy ways to achieve inner peace, happiness, and an ever-present state of well-being. You're already healed. You just haven't realized it yet. When you're ready, you can change your mind and change your life forever. The power of a beautiful life is within you today. Mind Health Coach with Leah Marie is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show every first and third Sunday, 9 to 10 p.m. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Every first and third Sunday from 9 to 10 p.m., all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Ben Wexler is a gifted leadership development and strategy consultant for professionals who want to transform their organizations and careers. Through a uniquely personalized set of processes, participants discover their unique knowledge, how to leverage that knowledge and experience, and then put it all together with a global strategy. You're more valuable, your organization is more valuable, and the change is viral. Contact Ben at 630-881-1074. 630-881-1074.
The pressure is on. Can you feel it? Life as we've known it is no longer working. Why? We are awakening. The true core self is alive within us now and has a new life to live. What does this mean? How do we live from here? Join us live every third Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern as spiritual embodiment coach and trainer Ambu Jam Rose explains this mass awakening. Ambu Jam's direct approach teaches you how to navigate this new wild ride, educates you on how to strengthen your spiritual core, and takes your calls for personal spiritual core training. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Have you ever had the sense that your thoughts might actually be doing something? Ancient secrets of manifesting have been masterfully revealed in the award-winning book Manifesting 1-2-3 by Ken Elliott. For the first time, the author's experiences and stories in this book describe exactly how your thoughts can create anything. You've been doing this all your life, but it's never been fully explained for you until now. Visit manifesting123.com for more information today. Manifesting123.com.
Ask Dr. Love is now on the Dream Vision 7 radio network every second and fourth Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Dr. Jamie Turndorf, a.k.a. Ask Dr. Love, is a psychotherapist, author, love and relationship expert who offers advice and answers to your relationship questions. Hear about Dr. Love's groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique that enables you to reconnect and make peace with a loved one. This show is for you, the listener, and Dr. Love wants to hear from you. Call 866-338-9663 or 617-237-1234.
Back to Moments with Marianne. We are here with Amy B. Scher, and we've been talking about her amazing book and also her practice, the amazing things that she does, how she moved herself from, being in a place of, ill health to moving beyond that. And she has a roadmap for other people, too. And my gosh, time is flying. This hour is just flying.
We're having too much fun.
Yeah, we definitely are. So because I know we're kind of coming on the twilight here of our time together. So what is the greatest insight that you can leave for our listeners?
Sure. So I would say if I learned one most important lesson, it is that we have to become who we really are. We have to be who we really are and be okay with that person. And that doesn't mean not change anything that you don't like about yourself. That actually means to learn to feel comfortable enough in our own skin and who we really are, releasing fears, old beliefs, anxiety, whatever it may be that prevents us from expressing ourselves, from feeling happy and comfortable in the world, and just really getting in touch with that person inside that's meant to live with joy and fun and adventure. So my work and my sort of mission is helping people clear all the things that aren't working for them, so the person that they're really meant to be, who can really thrive and be joyful in this life.
I just love that. That is so cool. And I know that you've got some really great things coming up. So we'll touch on those in a little bit. But, really being able to be comfortable in one's own skin is a pretty big deal, especially nowadays when we've got body shaming and, we're supposed to look a certain way. Sometimes I think the designers have basically, like some of the fashion designers have just made everything so it fits somebody that's kind of built like a board,
Right.
So
yeah, we're talking about that there's all of that, but then there's who we are on the inside, and I think we need to, as we become more comfortable with who we are on the inside, whether we do what some would consider great things and save, become a whatever and save lives, or if we're just a person who is so joyous that we make other people laugh. Whoever we are in our natural state of being is who we deserve to be in this world. So it's releasing all the pressures. It's releasing all the beliefs about ourselves and all the silly things we tell ourselves that really sort of, I call them spirit squashers, that squash our spirits and make life just not as fun. And all of that comes out in your body. So most people, when I ask them, how are you not living true to yourself, they know right away. They know, I'm so scared of moving forward in my career, or I just can't speak up to my parents, or I just hold on to so much stuff. I can't let go of anything that's ever happened to me. People know what's blocking them for a majority of it, and it's just being open to going, okay, how are we going to deal with that?
Yeah, how to make those shifts and those changes. And I think it's fascinating and just fabulous that you're able to work with people where they are and teach them how to heal themselves. Definitely the book, it's got great information in it so people can pick it up and, start down that healing path and really figure out, like you were saying, who am I? What am I about? What's going on here? It's, getting down to those deep questions. And
but it's a real. Oh, go ahead. I just want to say it's a real.
It's okay. We can do that here, don't we?
Yeah, I know.
It's part of the show.
I used to read self-help books, and it was so difficult because I would say, this person, they healed themselves or they feel better, but they didn't tell me how to do it. It was so much about them, and really my story takes up a very small portion of this book, and the rest of it is all questions and exercises and just really walking people through doing it for themselves, and I don't hold anything back. It's every single thing I did for myself and that I help my clients do for themselves.
That's perfect. It really does give a roadmap on how to get from being, sick or maybe just, sick and tired. It doesn't have to be anything, as monumental as, being very, very ill with a chronic illness. It could be just, maybe you want to shift in life and you're tired of maybe reacting. It could be, whatever.
Absolutely. And it's great to do. It's a compliment to any, I'm not telling people not to go to their doctors or not to do any other treatment. It's just such a great thing to be able to turn inward as well. And like I said, meet your medicine halfway. And this book is endorsed by some incredible physicians, including Sanjeev Chopra, who's the professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School and author of Brotherhood with Deepak Chopra. It's really like the medical community has really come to understand and support that we have to do our own work too, that there's definitely a time and place for Western medicine and, alternative treatments as well, but we can't rely on them completely.
No, definitely not. And that kind of brings me to your tagline. I just love that. Be you, be happy, be free.
Yep, that
sums it all up right there.
All the things that matter in life.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I know you've got some, and I get all excited about this because, I have a love for books and love seeing different events coming about and, who's doing what. So I know that you're going to be contributing to a book that's going to be coming out pretty soon. Elizabeth Gilbert's Eat, Love, Pray kind of thing. It's Pray, Love.
Yes, Eat, Pray, Love made me do it. It's a great collection of all of the stories of people who have been who were influenced by the original book, and now all of our stories are in sort of an anthology that her publisher put together. It's an amazing book.
That's going to be fun. So that's coming out actually towards the end of this month. So definitely want to keep an eye out on that and pick that book up. I'm sure it's going to be available everywhere.
Yeah, and it's available for pre-order now. It comes out March 29th, but it's available for pre-order on Amazon, and then, yes, it will definitely be everywhere when it's out.
So, and what type of, if, like we were talking about earlier, so if I've read the book and I still got something going on, what can I do? How can I connect with you and get that additional help?
Sure. So you can connect with me through my website, which is www.amy, A-M-Y-B, like boys, my middle initial, and then Scher, SCHER.com, so amybscher.com. I also have a brand new online course that rolled out because I can't work with every single person who reaches out to me. There are not enough hours in my day. So this is a course which is a companion to the book. It's 10 modules. It's me and you on a journey, step by step, going through sort of putting the book in action for those people who want me to do it with them. This is very, very hands-on, and months of my pure heart and soul going into this. So that there's also that option for people who, want to take some initiative to do it on their own, but also really love that support and guidance from somebody who's been there.
Oh, that's fabulous. And then for people who do want to have that in-person, kind of in-person over the phone.
Yes, I know.
Time with you. They can go ahead and schedule time for that, too. I'm sure you're probably booking quite a bit in advance.
I am, but anybody can go to my website and contact me through there. If you're interested in the course, it's howtohealyourselfcourse.com. You can also get to it from my website. But I have lots of information on all of the ways that somebody can work with me, whether it's the course or privately, or just starting with the book and seeing how you do with that, because really there's also so much information and so much guidance in there.
Oh, definitely. I've been kind of browsing everything and really love what you have. And, Llewellyn, gosh, they're just such an awesome publisher. So, and, usually books coming from them are pretty amazing. So
yeah, I couldn't be happier. They are incredible.
For sure. Now, so you've got your formula for healing in your book, and we've kind of chatted about that. Is there any last thoughts you'd like to leave for our listeners?
Do I have 1 minute to teach our listeners something that will help them right now?
I believe we do, unless the music starts to cue.
Okay, I'll go fast. I'll go super fast. In the middle of our chest, about an inch below the notch of your neck where you would tie a tie. So you find that area, sort of right that divot in your neck. You go an inch below that. That's your thymus gland under your breastbone. Okay. Your thymus gland is the seat of your immune system, which is highly affected by stress. When you're feeling stressed or anxious or emotional, if you tap that place, it helps to release the energy, calm your body, and instigate your immune system's healing response. All you have to do is tap with your fingers.
That's fabulous. Okay, so for our listeners, to learn more about Amy, definitely do go to her website at amybscher.com. And again, thank you for all tuning in. And remember, make every moment count.
Join us next time for Moments with Marianne, when host Marianne Pestana brings another inspirational gifted leader to help us grow. Tune in every second Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Moments with Marianne, when the Dream Vision 7 radio network is at 1510 a.m. Boston. Or catch Moments with Marianne every Thursday and Friday at 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern Time by going to dreamvision7radio.com. To learn how Marianne started her business from the ground up, visit mariannepestana.com. Don't miss this, and remember, make every moment count.